Hey, it's Sean Price with Price and Price Realtors in Long and Foster. Had an interesting conversation with the seller yesterday. What we're seeing in the market right now is we're seeing that we have obviously more sellers than we have active buyers. So the inventory is higher, which gives buyers a little bit more leverage and a little bit more opportunity to enter into a conversation with the opportunity to buy a home without multiple offers. Prices are still holding. We're not seeing a huge decrease in pricing at all, but we are seeing sellers that may be facing a time issue that are open to negotiation, more than they were previously a few weeks ago. And I had the conversation with one of those sellers. He's got a time issue. He's in a time crunch. He's got to sell his property. And, he opened up a dialogue with somebody who had made him an offer that he wasn't willing to even consider previously, but now he's willing to negotiate that. So it's something to keep in mind as a buyer right now, is that sellers are of a little bit of a different mindset, especially the ones that have a time crunch. What seems to be happening is we have this pool of buyers, and that pool of buyers hasn't changed. That once we start coming out of this virus situation and things start going back to normal, in real estate, we're expecting these buyers to flood the market again and get us back into a strong seller's market. So right now, while we have an inventory like this and active buyers like this, when that pool hits the market again, we're going to get in there where there's not enough inventory and you get into multiple offers and so on. But there is a window right now where you are going to probably pay retail for a property, but at least you won't be in a multi-offer situation, and you can probably get an inspection involved and so on and so forth. So you have a little bit more leverage on some of the terms. So what we're encouraging our buyers to do is, number one, if you have the time and you're really nervous about being out there and you're not in an urgent situation, go ahead and relax and wait and let this thing calm down. But if you are in an urgent situation, if you have a lease that's about to end, or you sold a property and you've got to get moved out or something, this is a good opportunity to get out there and try to see property. The way that we're doing this, we're doing it very, very safely, is if you have a property you're interested in, most of our listings now have virtual tours in them. So you can do all the research online that you need to do. And then if they don't have a virtual tour, then what's happening is Kelly and I will go in and we will actually shoot a video of the property, and we'll report back on things that video and cameras don't show. Things like, is there a smoker in the house? So is there smoke smell? Is there pet smell? What's the condition of the house in general? Like, how does it feel? Things like that. And when we do that, we'll get that information over to you. And we may already have these properties done. We've done quite a few of them. We'll get that information over to you, and if it still passes your litmus test and you're still interested, and then we can set up a private showing, and we can have the sellers leave the lights on, leave the doors open, so that when you go in, you can walk through, and Kelly and I will provide you with masks and gloves. When you go in, you can walk through without having to touch anything and see the property and get a feel for the property. So we can do this all very, very safely and in a very sanitary way, and then all of the documentation and everything can be done electronically, so that's no problem. So the reason for shooting this video, so I've said this before, but the reason for shooting this video is I'm starting to see a change in the market status. So what I'm seeing is, again, we have this level of buyer activity, we have this level of sellers on the market, but we're starting to see sellers, not as many houses coming on the market, and we're starting to see some sellers pulling their properties off the market. So this window, this gap here that gives buyers the opportunity, is starting to shrink down again, and probably in the next week or two, we're going to hit a point where sellers and buyers are equal again, and we're going to get back into that seller's market where you might end up in multiple offer situations and not have as much leverage. So that's probably going to happen even in the current COVID situation. So if you do have to buy and you're kind of sitting on the fence, you might want to consider going ahead and starting this process, starting the research process, so that you still have that ability and that little bit of opportunity. Once that window closes, it's going to be a smaller market. It's going to be active, but it's still going to be back to that seller's market again. So something to keep in mind. If you have the time and you can afford it, time-wise, to wait. There's no reason to get out there and put any risk into it. But if you are in a situation where you do have to buy, and you need to buy in the next couple months, remember, it's a 30-day minimum closing cycle. Things may move a little slower just because of the current situation, so give yourself like 45 days. So if you start working backwards, if you need to buy a house in the next month and a half to 2 months, now's the time to start the research, because you don't want to be under the 8 ball and then make a bad decision and pay more than you need to. All right, reach out to us, send us a private message. We'll be happy to start this process with you where we can do it in a sanitary way. Stay safe out there, keep your social distance, and let's get through this thing as quick as we can. All right, have a great day.